Ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon to everybody. My name is Adriana and I'm representing the Croatian Employment Service. Let me just start by thanking the organizers for having me here to talk about my public employment service involvement in social networks. As you know, or maybe you don't know, Croatia is a small country with a population of 4.2 million people, but we have 350,000 registered unemployed persons, and with 20% of them being young people. So last year, our top management decided that we should go online and that we should be involved in social networks. This is something that we started from last year, and the aim of this decision was to improve the communication with our clients. And since 20% of 20% of our unemployed persons are young people, we decided that we should be there where our customers are in order to cater the needs of our customers. The second reason why we decided to use social networks in our business processes was to lift the burden from our Croatian Employment Service counselors, because the ratio in Croatia between counselors and unemployed persons is actually that one counselor is dealing with 800 unemployed people. So that's a huge burden. What is also important to emphasize is that we are not using these social networks to substitute our traditional communication channels, but we are going to use it as, actually we are not going to use it, we are using it already as complementary communication channel to already existing communication mix. The world has changed and the behavior of our clients has changed as well, and we want to act accordingly. And in this way, we also want to improve the reputation of public employment service, because the problem of most public employment services is that our reputation among people is not very well. And social network is definitely a mean how to manage your reputation, because you must agree with me, reputation is the greatest asset of any company, be it private or be it public. In Croatia, 60% of Croatian citizens use the internet. With Google search being the most used engine search, but Facebook is the most important social network in Croatia, with 1.3 million people using it. And if you take into consideration that we have 4.2 million people, that means that every third Croatian citizen is registered with a Facebook. It's most popular in Croatia with a younger generation, but the popularity is growing very fast with those aged between 35 and 44, and it is the most popular with the age groups between 18 and 24 and 25 and 34. The next social network, which is very popular in Croatia and in Croatian public service, is Twitter. We also are present in YouTube, but not very actively, and LinkedIn is popular with 145,000 people, but I will talk about LinkedIn a little little bit later, because all of these social networks mentioned here have different philosophy of usage. The main question is, why should a Croatian why should public employment service be engaged in social networks? First of all, we have to clear the question that social networks are not a revolutionary step. They're not revolution in communication, in corporate communication. They are just evolution and additional communication channel, additional communication channel to our traditional, because nothing and nobody will replace and substitute face-to-face communication of clients with people. Another thing which should be emphasized is motivation and optimism of unemployed persons during job search. This means that it definitely increases motivation to search for a job if you know that there is somebody for you there 24 hours, 7 days a week, and who is there to encourage you, and that you don't feel alone in the world of unemployment and let alone long-term unemployment. What is in it for the past? Wisdom of crowds is something that we should not neglect. Social networks are a place where you can get most genuine feedback about your services. Because you can see the other perspective, the perspective of your clients, which you would not receive in face-to-face communication. Of course, we should take advantage of this wisdom of crowds, how to better our services, how to improve. And of course, it's, as I told you before, it's about reputation management. It's about how to influence how we are perceived, and it is in a public institution that is something very important, because we are there for people, not for ourselves. So, in social networks, one should be very careful about the messages you convey. You should be very careful about the words you choose. You have to think about every word that you send, because instantly your message will be conveyed to thousands of people, and you also have to take into consideration about the audience which are interested. So you have to take into account their perspective, their needs. You have to think about it thoroughly and carefully, because that is why we are for, to cater their needs. And of course, to be on top what is going on and align our strategies. We are not autonomous, we are not there just for ourselves. We need to change, we need to breathe with our clients. We need to take the pulse of our audience and act accordingly, of course. Everything I said so far is in favor of social networks. It's very dynamic and immediate interaction. It's a two-way communication. That's a very important word, and here to be stressed, two-way communication. And but of course, this could be both seen as advantages and as disadvantage, because immediate interaction means that you have to provide your clients with accurate information, and there is also this that you have to not only provide them with accurate but with very fast information. And you know that people who, at least in Croatian Employment Service, we don't have counselors who are trained to work with social networks. That they are more like generalists who pick up their knowledge from different departments, and they make their database different answers so that they can respond quickly. And if something new comes up, they have to ask for approval, and it takes time. Accessible technology, that's also an advantage because it's very easy and it's free to use. Additional value here is this conversational nature. It means that that clients can talk in a very not only clients talk in a friendly way, sometimes not, but people who work with social networks, they can talk in a friendly way. They can talk in an authentic way. They don't use a technical language. They use just they are encouraged to use simple language that our audience, our clients can understand. Concerning disadvantages and possible problems is that, of course, not everybody is granted an access to social network because it could decrease the efficiency of an employees. And if you're not trained enough, then you might be in danger to disclose some information which should not be disclosed, such as, for example, you have to take into account the Act on Protection of Data, personal data. And this is also another channel which needs to be watched for IT hacks. And we should really take into consideration that people working in social networks are actually, besides our counselors, the first defense, because they are so-called haters who will insult you. So nobody very sensitive should be working in social media. So you have to be very well informed about business processes, not very sensitive about insults, and you have to be a creative person who can, creative and both cunning, to stir up the discussion and to find out what you want to find out, so to get an appropriate feedback. I can see that I have 4 more minutes and I can talk for on and on, so let's go. Our users are more interested in job vacancies ads. We cannot put vacancies on our social networks because of some configuration problems. So this is not an option so far for us. But experts dealing with social networks are answering questions concerning unemployment entitlements, employment incentives, career guidance and counseling. Because people who come to their counselor, they sometimes complain, I don't understand what they're talking about, they're talking very technical, and they then ask very simple questions and they expect very step-by-step answers. So a person working there should be ready to use a very simple language to answer these questions. Social media policy document is something very important, something you have to think carefully to avoid possible negative consequences, like, as I said, disclosing information that should not be disclosed. All rules that apply in real life also apply in cyber world. So all acts, all rules and the contracts apply in social networks as well as in real life. And people working with social networks should be very careful because they have a great responsibility because they are representing Croatian Employment Service, a public institution, and they have to be aware that everything they say, they must be 100% sure that they are giving an accurate information. So as in real life, think first before you say something in social networks. This is our Facebook page. Apart from obtaining and apart from posting updates on different status, It is more like e-informing. We are giving them different information about unemployment benefits, if they are paid out or not, job fairs, workshops, and so on. But there is also another thing which is very important: an administrator, and that there is only one in our institution, can see an inside report. So how, what kind of people are registered, what kind of people are following us. So this is how we can find out more about the structure and demographics of our users. Then we are also using Twitter page. Twitter page has a similar philosophy like Facebook. So, so top management, actually an expert in social networks, and top management agree what will be posted on Facebook and Twitter page. But on Twitter page, just in adjusted format, up to 140 40 characters, and it's more about sharing links. It's not about. It should be a very short, straight to the point a message, very short. It's about sharing links. And I forgot to say that we have 7,200 fans on Facebook page, and we have 490 followers on our Twitter page, and we are following relevant institutions for our business on Twitter. I will be very okay. LinkedIn has a somewhat different philosophy. It's about connecting professionals. There is this tendency that the test should have the capability of advertising new job vacancies and linking ads with profiles of employers already present on LinkedIn, and different features which will develop in the future. But at the moment we are just communicating in this way with our partners. Our plans for future is that we should improve our social network sites and integrate them to be a usual corporate communication channels. And we would, at the moment, we have only people in central office who work with the social networks, and in the future we would like to have people who also work in regional offices. And expected results of the Twinning Light project, which will start in December 2013, will be to make a public campaign with the purpose of promoting social networks in Croatian employment service. A conclusion of my presentation is that this is another step just in the evolutionary ladder of communication, only complementary to the traditional communication channels. There is no way it will be the most important, just complementary. And the message is that a communication in social network requires planning, time, and patience to become effective. So the key points of my presentation is that you can do a lot if you are strongly committed, if you have and if you have awareness, if you are aware of certain advantages and disadvantages of communication channels. And you need to have all target groups in mind. You just need IT infrastructure and ensure IT security for your company to go online. You definitely need a social media policy, how to act in social networks, and it means well-trained people to do it. And further improvements in the Croatian employment service are going in the direction of e-informing. This is what I'm talking all the time, and of course in the direction of e-counseling and e-learning, which are our plans for the future. Thank you very much for your attention.
Thank you.